What's up, everybody? I want to come to you tonight with episode 11 on police stops. This one is going to be a build on Terry v. Ohio. One of the introductions we're going to do with this one is the famous phrase that I've been hearing a ton. And that's, I'm stopping you because I have reasonable suspicion and suspicious activity. I'm going to go into what that actually means and how you can combat that. Stay tuned. Under Terry v. Ohio, reasonable suspicion is still defined for the officer as must being able to articulate more than an unparticularized suspicion or a hunch of criminal activity. They actually have to be able to articulate the crime that you are being suspicious of or thought to be suspected of. Now, the one thing about it is you also have issues where I actually had one that pulled me over and he said, "Oh, well, I pulled you over because you're in a drug area." The crazy part about it, if you're from Georgia and you understand this place called Pittsburgh, you see it a lot in the videos, and it's a very low income area. But you're also talking about an entire zip code. So if that is the purpose of the stop, you're just going off a hunch. You can't see exactly what I'm doing. You can't particularize any activity that is being done other than traveling through that area. One of the things that I got with that was the fact that when he asked for my ID, I asked him, I said, if that is your pretext for stopping me, isn't that the pretext for stereotyping and also profiling? It got changed really quickly because whenever you start bringing up certain issues and you start making them think, it also changes how they deal with you. And I then requested the supervisor because, again, if you have no real reason to stop me, now you're asking me to go ahead and tap those pockets. If you remember earlier, I spoke about the police being amenable to you at all times. This is part of their fiduciary duty to you as the public servant. What happens is, because of that duty, they have to articulate why they're pulling you over, why they are stopping you, what makes your activity suspicious, and also what makes the activity a crime. We also understand what a crime is: damage to a person, damage to property, or them witnessing you commit a felony. If none of those are present, this becomes a voluntary detention. And you ask the simple question, am I free to leave? If not, then you go into command mode and asking a series of questions because they have to articulate and they are amenable to you. You have to stay in that mode because the second that you are not, that's when they try to do things as far as intimidation. They do things as far as being physical. There are a lot of times where they do not want to call the supervisors or their superiors for whatever reason. And this is where we must hold them accountable because that then allows us to not only be safe, but it allows them to do their job properly, which they chose to do, and allows them to stay safe. I'm going to finish this video off with one kind of a quick series on this. And it's basically a step of how we hold them accountable and not just sending a letter to the police station, not just sending a letter to internal affairs, but actually getting those letters to some place with a purpose of getting something done. And the one place that I always send a letter to, because I do send them to the police station, but I also copy the governor of that state. I also send a copy to the United Nations. Now you might think, why in the hell would I do that? They actually have an oath division in which they hold those that are in office, such as a police officer, accountable for their actions, which 99% of people do not do. And then I also file that with my complaint in federal court. Now, here's why. We understand that there are elements of what they call a cause of action. We've gone over the fact that the police officers have a fiduciary duty to you, the public. They have the highest duty of care. And out of that is a duty of care is obligation recognized by law. Those three letters are huge. It's recognized by law. And such duty requires the actor to conform to a certain standard of conduct. If they are not accountable to you when you ask questions, they have breached their duty. And under a breach of duty is a failure to conform to the required standard. Fiduciary duty. They are amendable. They do not comply with you from asking questions. It can be something as simple as, your name and badge number, please, sir. Please, ma'am. And I'll get to that. Well, no, we're going to get to it right now because you have a fiduciary duty to me. You have a fiduciary obligation to me. Anything beyond that is a breach. And if you breach, I do not have to experience actual harm for you to be liable. Because again, I've shown you the court cases for that. And the causation will be the actual facts and the actual causation. And generally when you're recording, they cannot argue with it. You can argue with a picture, but you cannot argue with video and sound. And the actual damage, again, is recovered simply because of their breach and their inability to comply when you're asking questions. So until the next video, reasonable suspicion has to be articulated to an actual crime, or they have to articulate the crime that you are about to commit. If they do not do that, it is not suspicion. It is only a hunch, and a hunch is not probable cause, and a hunch is not a particularized entity of anything other than a guess. And guessing is not legal. Guessing is not law. So until next time.